Hello?
Yes, is this Mr. Ottman, the former WWF superstar Tugboat?
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
This is Felix. I'm good, sir. Thank you so much. Actually, we are on the air now. If it's okay, if you have some time, we can talk about your great career in professional wrestling. If you got some time to do that.
No problem. Sounds like
I am also. Pardon me.
That sounds like fun, man.
I also want to introduce you to my co-host. His name is Austin. He'll be joining us right
Hi,
now.
Austin.
How you doing?
All right. How you doing, man?
Doing great.
All righty. Well, here's how we're going to go. We're basically going to ask you some questions about your career throughout your, professional wrestling career throughout the years, where you've been, what you've seen, the superstars you've gotten to face, and so forth. And if we have some time to take some calls, would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I'd be fine with it, man.
Okay. And starting off, I'll go first in this case and ask you how you got your start in professional wrestling.
Got my start in pro wrestling when I trained at the gym in Florida. Mm-hmm. A lot of the guys used to pass through when they were in town working, and they would talk to me all the time, and I ever thought about doing this, and I said, well, I never gave it much thought, and I wrestled a little amateur in high school, and a little bit in college to stay in shape when I was throwing shot and discus when I was going to community college in Miami. I talked to them about it, and they told me about a guy named Boris Malenko that I grew up watching on TV.
Wow. Okay.
He trained guys on the weekend. He came down from Tampa on the weekends. He had a school in Fort Lauderdale, and I went up to check it out. Met him and met Dean Malenko, who was there with him at that time, and then eventually Jody, the brother of Dean, and then liked what I seen and met the other guys who were up there that were already wrestling and guys that were training guys. And I got really enjoyed it, and so I joined and started going to the training at the school, and then from there I wanted to do it full time, so I moved to Tampa, and where I was able to train 7 days a week if I wanted to, and I trained, go to the gym, and worked in the daytime, and that was the rest is history, man. About 2 years after that, I got my first break in Texas, and I went out there. I wrestled there for about a year and a half, 2 years, based out of San Antonio, with a couple other guys that were in school with me. So it was pretty cool.
So during that time, though, okay.
Pardon me?
No, I was just going to ask you, how did it come about that you were brought into WWE, if you don't mind me asking?
I'd been wrestling a few years when I got invited there. I was overseas working. I went over and do my first. I was working in Florida, and we just did a big show. And a guy named Otto Vance, who was a champion and promoter in Germany and Austria, came over to scout for some talent, and he saw me work there against Dusty Rhodes, and he wound up getting with me and asked me to go overseas. I went over there. That was my first time overseas, and I went over and worked for him. And when I came back 10 days later, there was Dusty, Steve Kern, Mike Graham, and one of the other guys in the office pulled me in and had a meeting with me at WCW. I called while I was away, and WWF, and they were both interested in possibly using me as talent. So, no disrespect to WCW, but I mean, it was, my goal from breaking into business was to go with WWF, so I wanted to give it a shot and see if, I could go further. I went up there and I had several dark matches at different times for them, and they wound up picking me up, and I worked about 6 or 8 months under this Big Steel Man moniker, doing first and second matches well, they came up with a gimmick for me and had a meeting with me and asked me if I was interested in doing a tug, this character called Tugboat. They explained what they wanted, and and the rest was up to me as far as getting the gimmick over. So next thing I sure, man, I couldn't wait. And next thing I was out there on the road doing this gimmick, and and that's pretty much pretty basically history. I mean, it was fun. It was me. I mean, I'm like a big kid, and it was a cross between Popeye and his arch enemy. I looked like Brutus, but acted like Popeye, and I had fun, cut it up, and act like a big goof, which is how I am naturally anyway. And
it looked like you really did have a lot of fun with whatever character you played. I mean, I grew up watching Tugboat and Typhoon, and then of course later down the line, and when you did go to WCW. And,
yeah.
And I was going to ask you, what was it like working, because they definitely, soon after your debut as Tugboat, they quickly put you with Hogan. What was that like?
It was incredible, man. I mean, he was phenomenal, and we worked, working with him, you working with all the top guys, and, here I am, still, I've been in the business a few years, but I mean, it was a great honor just being there with him. And, and all of them were very good, and, and I spent my whole business trying to learn from everybody that I worked with and worked around, you know what I'm saying, to get better and better, and, and be able to do my job better and perform and, and act great in front of the fans. I mean, Malenko, the main thing that he taught me was, keep your mouth shut, listen, and, it doesn't matter if you're wrestling in front of 5 people or 5 million people, you know what I'm saying? You want to give 150%, at all times.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So before...
Go ahead.
Before you were actually a professional wrestler and you were a fan, who were some of your favorite wrestlers to watch?
Oh, my God. I mean, I grew up in South Florida, so we had a ton of talent come through. I mean, I got to see, Andre the Giant work when he was, when he was young. Dusty Rhodes was a favorite of mine, I liked the Funks, the Briscoes. Oh my God! All the feuds that went on. We had great managers, Sir Oliver Humperdinck. One Man Gang, I loved, man, because and I eventually, became really good friends with him. And he was probably one of the greatest big man wrestlers that I had seen in the business. And I mean, it was I could just go down and down the line. When I went to get my tryouts with WWF, I walked through the curtain, and these are all guys, that I'd grown up watching, and I was like, and here I am now in the midst of all this talent, because Vince had the cream of the crop in the world of professional wrestling as far as talent goes. And so it just made me, I mean, it was just tremendous, and asking which individual did I mean, they're all great. I mean, Jesse the Body, I mean, all these guys, I mean, Roddy Piper, I mean,
Randy Savage,
and Action Smash, I mean, Power, Warlord, Barbarian, Mr. Fuji, I mean, the managers, Jimmy Mouth, the Self-Heart, I mean, all these guys were just phenomenal, they were larger than life, and, here I am going from watching them on the TV screen and being raised, growing up with a lot of the talent there, and, I mean, it was incredible enough when I went to meet, the great Malenko, who I watched forever, and he was such a wonderful and down-to-earth and great guy, and just his psychology and the whole deal is just phenomenal, and both of his sons, phenomenal, I mean, and, he one of his best friends was a guy from Germany that, that was a legend, I mean, it was really, really good. I mean, but one of the top guys that I met really really helped me a lot, was Frank Goodish, Bruiser Brody.
Nice.
He was, one of the top in the industry, and I learned so much, from him, and watching him and, being in the same locker room with him. It's excellent.
That's very cool. Actually, Mr. Ottman, if you don't mind, I actually wouldn't mind.
Sure.
I would like to play a little promo that you did on your good buddy John Tenta, the Earthquake. Would you mind?
Yeah.
Would you mind if I played that?
Sure, no problem, man.
Let's take a listen here. This is Tugboat doing a promo on the Earthquake.
Earthquake, you thought you'd put me out of professional wrestling. Well, brother, I'm back, bigger and stronger than ever. Let me explain something to you, Earthquake. The only time a tugboat goes in reverse is when you put it in reverse. If you notice, every time you look out on that bay, they're always pushing, they're always shoving, and they're always pushing the biggest ships in the ocean. You know where that is? Because they're all engine, brother. Just a floating mass of steel. You know what that's like? It's like me having a heart the size of a city block. So you better be prepared to be shoved and pushed all over existence.
That was Tugboat cutting a promo on the Earthquake. What do you think about that, man? I bet you that takes you back, huh?
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember doing that, man. It's crazy. That's crazy.
But working with a big man like, because John Tenta was, he'd come in, Mr. Tenta, excuse me, he'd come in and he had a sumo background, but he was also a professional wrestler. Not many people had known that. What was it like working with Mr. Tenta?
Well, he had an amateur background. He wrestled at LSU also. And plus he was an alternate on the Canadian Olympic team. I mean, he was just an all-around, he wasn't just another big, couch potato. He was a great athlete. He could move good. He had great psychology. He was very athletic. He could go and he could go and he could go. He was just phenomenal. It was great working with him. It was phenomenal working side by side. He actually brought me on my shell and taught me a lot and helped me a lot as far as blooming in the business, as far as becoming a better person in the ring and out of the ring. You know what I'm saying? And showed me how to definitely help get myself over in that. And he was just tremendous. He was one of my best friends, and I miss him. I think about him often, a lot. And, I think of a lot of the good things that we did and a lot of the trials and tribulations being on the road and that,
Absolutely.
It's all good memories, though. It's all good memories when it has to do with him and his family also.
And you guys are both managed by, as you were mentioning earlier, you mentioned managers. You guys are managed by the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Definitely one of the greatest managers of all time.
He's a great dad, and he's still going. He's always got his hands in something and always doing something. He's working for worthwhile causes. I'm living in Clearwater right now, and there's a lot of guys that are around me in that area. Hogan lives probably about 2 miles from where I live at, and I see him.
You guys still keep in touch?
And stuff like that. Yeah. Pardon me?
Do you guys still keep in touch?
He's a busy guy. I'm semi-retired, and I stay busy. My wife manages a big hotel on Clearwater Beach, and
very cool.
Luke of the Bushwhackers, he owns him up the street where I train, and Hogan's got his store down there. Plus, he has a bar and restaurant on the causeway coming from Tampa, and he's involved with that. Plus, with TNA, he stays very, very busy. He's flying here, doing that and that. When about a month ago, when I was up for WrestleMania for the WrestleCon in New Jersey, I was there and talked for a few minutes. It was just nice, give him a hug, and it was just nice seeing him and all the other talent that was there. I mean, everything from A to Z. There was referees there, divas. They were doing matches. There was guys I hadn't seen in years. There was guys that I see occasionally. on the 22nd of June, I'm fixing to do a thing up in Massachusetts, in Madison.
Oh, nice.
It's a big fan fest going on up there, and a lot of guys booked on the card going up in there, and I'll be there on the weekend at a couple of events that got going on that whole weekend. And so, I mean, but it was just nice seeing him, and he, like I said, he's very, very busy. I mean, they're putting in a lot of time with the promoting the events and stuff with the wrestling organization that he's with, so it's beautiful.
Now, if you had actually gotten the opportunity, if Hogan had decided, you know what, I'm going to call Mr. Ottman tomorrow, and they'll say, you know what, I want you to come down and maybe return, not necessarily to the ring, but be like maybe an on-screen character again, would you consider something like that?
I have no idea. I mean, you can't never say never. You can't never say
That's
yes.
True. That is very
true. Every situation is different and everything, But, I mean, I enjoy it. I watched that show. I watched the WWE show. My oldest son, he's doing some stuff with NXS or with the FCW program that's over in Tampa. So he's trying to get involved in it. He likes the business, And,
very cool.
Talk to him a little bit and everything, and he's hoping that he wants to referee. He's a very, very good referee. He's not, he's been helping around there since he was in high school, but legalities, because he wasn't of age yet. When he turned 18, he went through wrestling camp and that, and he, did that. Matter of fact, Mike Graham was real instrumental as far as helping train him when he went through wrestling camp. He's a real tall, thin guy, but he's very athletic and very bright and intelligent and good looking, but I can't take credit for that myself. But I mean, he loves the business, and he's one of those deals, and I wish him luck, and I hope that he wants to do that. My only thing to him is he's been trying to learn the production end, and that's what I was pushing, finishing his college and learning
Absolutely.
that part of it. So we'll see what happens with him,
Absolutely. It's not unusual for a new generation or a second generation star to appear in WWE or even TNA for that matter. So, yeah, absolutely. Definitely got a bright future ahead of him. But like you said, got to push to college because they definitely have to have something else to fall back on.
Most definitely, and with television production, there's a lot of avenues, a lot of doors that are out there, that are really, really good.
But I actually wanted to see Austin. Did you have any questions for Mr. Ottman?
Yeah, I was going to say, so do you keep up with all the pro wrestling shows going on TV? Do you still do that?
I don't sit in front of them like I'm a mark, but I definitely flip different times of the week and stuff like I flip and everything and watch, and try to stay on point with some of the characters. I just like to see how things evolve, and I like to see what the storylines are. At different. I watch. In Florida, I'm in Tennessee right now because I'm on vacation with my wife and seeing some of my grandkids and my children up here. So.
Very cool.
But as far as that goes, I mean, I've been known to pop up at some of the outlaw shows and stuff like that, and just come in and watch and stuff like that, and talk with a few of the guys and everything, to me, I like watching and seeing and sitting back and watching and listening and seeing how people act, and I don't know, I'm a people watcher. And from way back, and I kind of draw my conclusions. I like to talk to people and see where their head's at, and I'm an easy person to talk to. If I can help somebody, I can only do as much as I can, or make a suggestion or anything like that. It's not just, everybody's got an opinion. They're like rear ends. They're all different, and some of them stink.
That's a good comparison. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, I got to ask you.
Pardon me?
No, I was just going to ask you, being that you have worked in WWE and also WCW, what were some quick comparisons that you can easily tell about both companies right off the bat when you decided to go to WCW? Was there anything that was different, better, worse, would you say?
No, you can't compare them. They were, in a lot of ways they were very, very similar, and then there was certain things. I mean, I'm not that kind of person. Everybody has their own ways. It's like you have 15, 20 different stores that are all the same, either food store. I've owned bars and restaurants, so I use that comparison. And they can all have the same products, and they're all basically the same, you know what I'm saying? But everybody has their own way of running a business, okay? With Vince, he's how I was kind of raised, the eye of the owner fattens the horse, okay? Mm-hmm. You have to be involved with your business, not, allow it just to be there in the hands of somebody else and let them make all the decisions on that. He's always used a committee-type mentality as far as doing production, even when they got into outside writers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He sits down, he gets a lot of different ideas. I've also taught industrial classes, for construction and general industry. And, sometimes it's better if you have the opportunity, like you sit down in a production meeting for a job, to do a job, when you put things together, more people there at the meeting exchanging ideas, the more information is not left on the shelf at home. In other words, there's more ideas. Like if somebody forgets something, somebody else brings something up that brings something to the table, a different angle, a different spin. You know what I'm saying? And those, that way you can, feel it out and see, oh yeah, this would be better done this way or better done that way. You know what I'm saying? But basically, both companies together, the operations are very similar because they are what they are, as far as business-wise go, and they have the same type of people, logistics and everything like that. It's one company, I'd say WWE maybe a little bit better because they just have more time under their belt, and they've been around a lot longer and stuff like that. And the new company that is here is still evolving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
Definitely in the last year, a lot better. They've got a lot of good talent. You know what I'm saying? Some of the angles over the past year and a half were a little wishy-washy, and they've changed a little bit locally, in the last few months, and the show, I think, is better. I think it's great that they're finally on the road more than being just a studio show at Universal Studios in Orlando, you know what I'm saying? They're getting out on the road, getting with the fans, meeting the fans. He's going overseas, doing shows overseas. So I think those are all big pluses as far as that goes for the new company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and this we're going to go back for a second, but after you teamed, where was this? After you had your rivalry with Earthquake and you formed a team with him and you changed your name to Typhoon, did you enjoy that that change, or were you, or it didn't really matter to you?
What do you mean? I don't understand. Was that said about Gordy and teaming up?
When you actually teamed up with the Earthquake, was it an easy transition from going from Tugboat to singles competitor to Typhoon into a tag team? Was it an easy slide in for you to be a tag team competitor?
Well, tag teaming is tag team, no matter who you're working with, as long as the chemistry is there. And with Quake, me and him and I were so similar. Not only in size and that, but I think ability and the fact that we were very vocal as far as in the ring, talking back and forth, actually exchanging ideas or coming up with things. It wasn't a play or anything like that. We were thinking as we were doing, talking and actually making the crowd part of the deal, and doing a lot of stuff together, like really doing stuff together that I think really got over. And the fact that we were big, brutal, and I mean, we just had good chemistry. And we had a good manager that didn't stick his nose, because a lot of managers get out there and they kind of, if they're too much involved, they kind of distract from the wrestling that's going inside the ring. You know what I'm saying? They kind of steal the fire. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
And Jimmy's such a good manager, and he knows just when to do whatever he does, and that, you know, when he's out there. And we just worked, we clicked, all of us together, you know, all three of us clicked. And, you know, the fact that, you know, the referees and our opponents, I mean, I don't know, there's a skill there, and then there was skill and luck, if you may. I mean, right place, right time, right partner, you know what I'm saying? And just it was all good chemistry.
Speaking of that, I actually wanted to play one last quick little promo for you, just kind of something to maybe take you back. This is when you were actually with Quake, and you guys were cutting the promo on the Head Shrinkers. Let's take a listen.
Head Shrinkers, as far as the natural disasters are concerned, you're solely responsible for our loss in the WWF Tag Team belts. If it hadn't been for your interference, we'd still have them today. Head Shrinkers, you're kind of like the new kids on the block. You walked down during the natural disasters match. You don't know what you've got yourself into now. You cost us the WWF Tag Team Championship. Now you're going to have the whole wrath of the big typhoon and the earthquake coming down on you. Get ready to feel the typhoon splash and the earthquake.
Actually, that really does take you back, I'm sure.
Yes, it does, yeah.
But you guys are a great tag team, man. You guys are really a great tag team, enjoyable, whether you guys were heels or, you know, you guys were face or good guys. The teams you guys had back then to work with, a tag team division back then, my goodness, it was awesome back then. Money Incorporated, the Beverly Brothers, the Bushwhackers, you had the Rockers, you had Demolition, you had the Hart Foundation, you know, just to name a few. But I mean,
we had a lot. There was a really good tag team. I mean, but there was a lot of different divisions. I mean, that were all, you know, good. I mean, they did have a good tag team division, you know, and I mean, it was a great idea. It was great. I mean, there's no taking away from that. A lot of guys that worked really, really good together. And as far as opponents go, I mean, that's what makes the matches, you know. That between that and having a great referee, you know what I'm saying, Absolutely. And everybody working together, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, no, you're right about that. I mean, going in the ring, you have to have great chemistry, you know, with whoever you're in there with, including the referee. But what I was going to ask you is, if you are okay with it, do you happen to have maybe a story or so of one of your moments on the road that you maybe would like to share, or maybe not right off the top of your head, or I mean, if you have anything, that would be great.
Off the top of my head right now, I mean, there's many of them, but there's a lot, really the majority of them I can't really share. I mean, I've even got tons of stuff that I've written down over the years that I just read through and I laugh about that. I mean, you know, I've taken so many bumps over the years that I got only a few brain cells left. It's about like a BB in a boxcar. You know what I'm saying? My head, when I shake it for no or yes, sounds like a maraca. I mean, you know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. I talk about different things that happen and stuff like that. But I mean,
have you actually written a book?
Huh?
Have you actually considered writing a book?
I'm like this, man. I've seen good and bad over the years. A lot of different things. That comes from being on the road, you know. Yeah. And when we were on the road together, I mean, I wrestled 250, 300 days a year for about 17 years. Okay, and I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen things happen in front of people, ribs that were pulled on different people, and you know, bad stuff that happened and everything like that. And you know, I mean, there was many a time. I was in an interview last night for a couple of hours about, you know, a lot of times we were together and when you're on the road wrestling, it's not any different than being in construction or being in industry where guys are working 10, 12, 14-hour days on job sites, and, you're there with them, more time there than with your loved ones at home, you know what I'm saying? And with that, it came down to, like, who's going to crack first, because it's planes, trains, and automobiles, and you're flying all over the joint. You're, staying in some nice hotels, some not so nice hotels, and, bad weather, where you're trying to, double shot, where you're wrestling in the afternoon, have to catch a plane or drive to a second shot somewhere else, and, where you're going to be on the card to get to where you're going to be at the card at the next show that you're going to, and during the year, bad weather. If you're coming from a tour in Europe or coming back from Japan and you're booked, when we're doing TVs, you get a stack of tickets. They give it to you, and you're making your hotel reservations and your car rental reservations and all that stuff while you're there on a TV day, because TV days are like 3 days long, and you're in different cities, and, you have all that stuff, not to mention maybe working 2 or 3 times in the evening, you know what I'm saying, on a TV day. Plus doing photo shoots, doing commercials, doing TV promos. I mean, just a variety of different things, That's how the business is. It's no different than any other actor or rock star or stuff like that. Like the guys up, like Hulk Hogan or John Cena, The Rock. I mean, the guys are up in these top positions. They got the additional stuff, different events for children. Maybe they're doing TV or a movie, have a movie coming out or doing TV or something like that. And they're involved in different charitable organizations. So they're not only having to fly here and fly back, go on TV, and what I'm saying? So sometimes you're going out a day ahead of time before you would normally fly out, because, you have obligations a day, 2 ahead of time. So you have to cut your days off. Maybe you're off one day. You're just sleeping, trying to catch your breath, and your mind. You know what I'm saying? Your character's on the road, and you live your character. When you come home, you have to shut the door and leave that character outside. You know what I'm saying? And you go back to your normal life, your children, if you have any, your wife or your girlfriend or your parents or, whatever, and make up for that lost time that you spend on the road, but you're making the sacrifices, just like any other athlete would be doing, for your family and for the future or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you're making sacrifices. And because you can only ride that wave as long as you can ride that wave. You know what I'm saying? At some point, it has come to an end.
Well, did you enjoy traveling?
Pardon me?
Did you enjoy the traveling, visiting all the world?
I did. I mean, for me, I enjoyed it. Because I would try and get out at any available time. And, I wasn't a drinker, a heavy partier, So me, especially when I was with Quake, man, we were going to see sites, in England, Abbey Road. I've been to Jim Morrison's grave, Jimi Hendrix's house, here in the States. I've got to go, see the Imperial Palace in Japan, Eiffel Tower. Just different places, different countries. And I've been to like 45 different countries. I would have never had that opportunity in any other business probably that I would have done. I've met people from different cultures, different food, and was able to, I was out there. I'm gonna not sleep I can catch up my sleep later. I'm gonna take and get as much and soak up as much as a sponge, as I can while I'm out and about, and taking advantage and learning, learning cultures, So it was very, very cool for me personally.
But I want to touch on a subject real quick, and get your take on it. I want your opinion. On how you felt it could have went or should have went, or how it went basically over, was with the attempt for the Shockmaster. How do you feel that could have went. Do you think how do you look back on that character now?
You know, I never ever cry over spilled milk, man. If there was anybody ever harder on themselves in the business, not as much from the outside but as from myself. And as far as the Shockmaster goes, it was a live TV event. It wasn't a recorded event.
Yep.
What happened, and you can't change that. You know, you can only go forward and and go with whatever they throw at you to try and fix what's already been done. And sometimes people don't make the right decisions as far as that that goes. You know what I mean? I'm saying there because they're fishing, trying to save something or someone, in this case me, with this gimmick and trying to put me into went from that. I wrestled a little bit as a Shockmaster after the fact and after the pay-per-view that Shockmaster gimmick was getting set for, which was in New Orleans at the I don't know if it was a Battle Bowl or what it was, whatever the show was we did there, and it was in the cage and all the people were involved, and I'm like, it was one of those deals like, even when the bottom of the wall didn't break out, people were like, oh, you fell through the wall. Well, no, actually, I took a double axe handle at the top, and because it was 2x4s, every 12 to 14 inches, anybody that's ever been or done carpentry work knows how a wall in a house is constructed. And it was 5/8 sheetrock over the top of it, and that for the set for Flair for the Gold. And the wall, there was about 2 feet added to it, which put a 2x4 right where my knees were. And then I had the mask on, and Mike Graham was back there to give me the go-ahead where my cue was. And I had the hood on, and he said, you got to hit it hard. So I hit it as hard as I did. I should have kicked the vertical 2x4 out by my knees before I busted the top out. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. I didn't think about it. I just, figured when I hit it very hard, and that, it would have been done and busted the whole wall out, and actually didn't. The momentum shot me, my upper body went through. It was like a big giant teeter-totter, as far as it, going. I hit the floor. Helmet pops off. I turn my face away because it's live. Grab for the helmet, pile it back on my head, jump up to finish the gimmick. The rest is history. It was what it was. You know what I'm saying? I have my own award though, the Shockmaster award for the WWE. But you know what I'm saying? All you can do is like, you know what? It happened. It upset me. I got over it, man. Next morning, it was done. I laughed about it. I laughed about it after that. Because there was nothing you could do about it. There's nothing they could have done about it afterwards. And I just went forward after the fact, and they wound up evolving into Uncle Fred, or and that was me, the stumbling, bumbling, big oath, and breaking. I did the night I was in a Santa suit at Christmas time, reading the Christmas, the Christmas story to a bunch of kids, and then I jumped up and actually crushed all their toys while I was on the set. Mean Gene Okerlund was there with me. So I mean, did what they wanted, and that was about the best they could do. And it was live, and there's no takebacks, man. So you never can tell what life deals you, and so you got to kind of roll with the punches, and that's what I did.
That's a great attitude to have, man. That's a very good attitude to have.
Well, that's all you can do. I mean, I still to this day, it's the brunt of many jokes, and some people are apprehensive about asking me about it. There's nothing to be apprehensive. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those deals. It's the largest viewed deal on YouTube. With the hits that it's taken. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, it's cool.
I just wanted to be respectful about it. I mean, I know that was not something and that wasn't a great moment, but I mean, at the same time.
I appreciate that, but I mean, I don't let that doesn't upset me. I laugh. You can't laugh at yourself, man. You got problems.
You're right. You're right. That's an awesome attitude to have, and I tip my hat to you if I wore one. But But that was a moment, and it still gets talked about. So yes, I mean, looking back on it, you can laugh about it because it does still get talked about. Believe it or not.
And everybody has their opinion about it. A lot of the boys have said different things. Hey, that's their deal, man. It's just like I've seen a lot of successful guys. The wrestling business is just like any other entertainment business. Whether it be baseball, football, whether it be a Hollywood actor or whatever. It's a lot of attitudes. There's a lot of egos. You know what I'm saying? Some people believe their own publicity. You know what I'm saying? And, that's just one of those deals. I've never been, I can honestly say, jealous of anything. If somebody got a break or somebody got a big push, God bless them, man. There's a lot of guys out there that are great, were great wrestlers that were overlooked for a long, long time until they got their break. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of them. A couple of them WWE champions. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That worked middle card and, for many, many years, and they were great athletes, and, and it took a long time before they got the break that they deserved and the praise and that they deserved. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
you're right.
Think about the guys that are there and the guys that are around. There's a lot of guys that it took them a while and they got that break, and God bless them, man. I've never had that problem with jealousy or ego or. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody deserves a break, I think.
You're right.
I believe that, just like with the Hall of Fame, I think everybody deserves to be, everybody, I had somebody ask me talk to me about it last night, like, some guys are lower on the card and this and that, and I'm like, you know what? They entertained millions and millions of people. Not everybody wanted to see Hulk Hogan or was a Hulk Hogan fan. Not everybody wanted to see the Randy Savages, the Ultimate Warriors, and stuff like that. There's some guys that like guys that work one or two matches. I mean, one the first or second match. Some guys that work middle. You know what I'm saying? That they were fans of those. They came particularly to see those wrestlers. They were fans of those. They're a heel fan. They're a babyface fan. You know what I'm saying? There's a magnitude and a whole arena full of people that have their favorites. You know what I'm saying? So as far as the Hall of Fame is, I believe that everybody that's ever worked, in front of and gave and wrestled their heart out and gave a good show to those people in the audience, I believe they're all legends, and I believe that they are all Hall of Famers. Some of them aren't as loved as much as others, but they all deserve their break and their part to be in there. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
That definitely answered my question as far as if WWE came knocking on your door tomorrow saying, hello, we would like to put you in the Hall of Fame, whatever year it is, would you accept?
I've told many persons on many times, I would think it's a great honor, but there's a lot of guys that are more worthy that haven't been put in there yet. A lot of guys. You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, from the top to the bottom, there's a lot of tremendous talent out there.
And you got to work with a lot of them.
Yeah, I was lucky enough, I feel very, very lucky, I had my first cage match with Ox Baker. Can you imagine that? And that was after he did Escape from New York with,
Yeah.
Don't worry, kid, you don't have nothing to worry about. I was shaking in my boots, man. I'd watched this guy when I was a kid, and now here I am with this scary-looking man. And at that point there, his wife died, his first wife, and he had his toenails were painted bright red. And
wow.
I was like looking at him, and he explained the story. And if you ever have the opportunity to meet him, I'm going to get to see him up in, I talked to him not that long ago, because he was in the hospital, and he's going to be up there in Massachusetts, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. And,
nice.
And it was just really cool, man. I was like, he was legitimately a funny guy. As scary looking as he is, he's legitimately very, very funny man. And, I thought that was the wildest deal, and just crazy. But and I was lucky enough also too that there was a lot of guys from my very beginning that were nice enough to help teach me along the way. Many, many, many champions, many, many good guys. I worked with a lot of guys that are really good, that are still working and I'm just, and I learned so much, and they were there to kind of, not be an ass to me, but there was a whole lot more guys that were there willing to help me and to be a better performer, a better wrestler, and I feel blessed as far as that goes.
Did you actually get the chance to work with, I think you did, and I could be wrong, but correct me if I am, did you get the opportunity to work with Randy Savage?
Yeah, I've worked with Randy Savage. I tell a lot. My biggest thing, and I bring it up a lot with Randy, is, I was with him and my brother-in-law Dusty, and I forgot who else. We were going somewhere, going from one town to another, driving, and we stopped to eat in a restaurant. But when we were in there, I'm talking, and he was real good, and Dusty, he's funny. But I was asking all different questions. All the time, he looks at me and he's like, over the table, he's like, well, Tugboat, the only thing I can really tell you in this business, the only guarantee is there are no guarantees. I
could totally hear him say that too.
He was just fun, and I was like, wow, man.
That is awesome.
Does that mean I get my notice next week or what? But it was funny, man. It was funny, and he was a great. There's another guy who's a great champion, man. Great champion. His brother Lanny, hell of a worker, man, and his father. I mean, just the whole family. You know what I'm saying?
I had the pleasure of having Lanny on the show a couple of years back. Such an amazing guy. Definitely a great guy, heart of gold, and yes, I was privileged enough to have an interview with him, and yes, I cannot say enough good things about Lanny, but
and he's very intelligent. He's very, very intelligent. Like a professor almost.
Yes.
As far as topics and different things that he knows about. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
And I actually want to ask, my final question is actually, if fans want to actually follow you, be it on the social media, since you know how big that is nowadays, how can the fans follow you? Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I am, that you have created a fan page. Is that correct?
Yep. You got a fan page. Got all kind of cool stuff on there. And they can contact me at my real name, Fred Ottman, on Facebook. But we got a fan page going. It's legit, and I've got a good friend of mine up north that's doing a lot of stuff for other guys in the business currently, for a couple of good guys up there, and he's phenomenal. And I'm always getting sent brand new stuff from. I've got stuff on there when I worked in Texas, from when I was in Florida, when I was overseas. And the fans send me stuff all the time, so it's really pretty cool. You can watch matches on there, a lot of history on there, and it's just pretty cool, man. You never know who's going to pop in, say something or talk, and it's kind of cool. We have fun with it. And
I can definitely vouch for the fan page. I have actually followed that, and you're right. You definitely a lot of memories. Takes me back to my childhood, let me tell you.
Yeah, but it's really neat, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
great pictures, drawings, and so forth.
Yeah, and plus I'm going through there. Guys that want autograph pictures from me and stuff like that, they can hook up with me on there, and we stuff doing. Plus we got other stuff coming down the line and everything like that, some T-shirts and stuff that we're working on and that. It's just,
you said something about a Shockmaster action figure. Is that something that's available as well?
Yeah, there's some of those available too.
Cool. Okay.
So, yeah, and we're gonna put some on eBay and stuff, with certificates and pictures of me signing and stuff like that. So it's like a little package deal and everything. So some of the guys that are collecting it, I definitely get shot in the arm because it's something like you would get at one of the autograph things. So it's kind of cool.
Mr. Ottman, can I ask you ask for a small request?
Sure.
Is it possible if I can get you to cut a small promo on saying, you're listening to, this is Tugboat and you're listening to Pipebomb Radio kind of thing. What do you think?
Okay, Pipebomb Radio?
Pipebomb Radio.
Pipebomb Radio. Huh? Pipebomb Radio, sorry. All right, yep, you got it. Whenever you're ready.
Go for it.
This is Tenta, and you're listening to Python Radio. Be ready. I'm coming right at you.
Awesome job. Thank you so much, Mr. Ottman.
No problem.
Awesome. But, hey, Austin, did you have any questions for Mr. Ottman?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us and coming here tonight. And I have a bunch of respect for you and for every single wrestler around the world goes out and pours their heart and soul in the match. I have a bunch of respect for all of you.
Well, man, you're very welcome, and I appreciate you guys giving me a chance. Anytime you want to get back in contact and talk, feel free to do so. And all the fans out there, man, I appreciate every one of you that are listening or care about me or what what I'm all about. And just say hello on Facebook and let me know how you guys are doing.
That is, you know what, Mr. Ottman, it's been an extreme pleasure to have you on here. It's truly an honor to have somebody who I grew up watching and just to hear some, what it was like back then and just getting to work with some of the stars. I mean, like I said, I asked you for a quick story, and you actually threw one out there about Randy Savage. He is actually one of my personal favorites. Yeah. And, that was just, I could hear him saying that in that tone exactly like that because his brother does a better job, of imitating than I could. But I appreciate everything that you contributed tonight, and it's truly an honor. And, maybe somewhere down the line, we'd definitely love to have you come on back.
Excellent, man. You guys have an awesome night, and,
you do the same.
Great.
And,
I appreciate it.
Best to you and your wife. You guys have a great night.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Be good.
Take it easy now. Bye-bye.
Bye.